After Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden, they began their life of toil and hardship outside of paradise. In time, they had 2 sons, Cain, their firstborn, and Abel. Cain worked the land as a farmer, growing crops, while Abel became a shepherd, tending flocks of sheep. The 2 brothers grew up under the guidance of their parents, who taught them the importance of honoring God. As the years passed, Cain and Abel came of age and sought to offer sacrifices to God, each from the fruits of his labor. Abel, devoted to God, carefully selected the firstborn lambs of his flock, choosing the finest portions to present as his offering. His heart was sincere, and he hoped his sacrifice would be pleasing to God. Cain, on the other hand, gathered some of his harvest to offer to God, but his attitude was less wholehearted. Cain had a grudging and prideful heart, and did not consider it necessary to select the best of his crops, believing that his offering alone should suffice. When Cain and Abel presented their sacrifices, God looked with favor on Abel's offering, accepting it as a symbol of his genuine devotion. But God did not regard Cain's sacrifice, knowing that it was given without sincerity or true faith. Seeing this, Cain became furious, and jealousy toward his brother grew in his heart. God, noticing Cain's anger, spoke to him, saying, "Why are you angry, and why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it." But Cain refused to listen. Cain's jealousy turned into bitterness, fueled by his pride and resentment. Feeling that Abel was favored by both God and his parents, Cain began to distance himself, brooding over his perceived rejection. His anger consumed him until he could think of nothing but his resentment toward his brother. One day, Cain invited Abel out into the fields, pretending to speak with him. However, as they walked, Cain's anger erupted. Cain accused Abel of seeking to win God's favor in a way that dishonored him. Abel, surprised by his brother's words, tried to reason with him, explaining that he had done nothing to harm Cain and that he only sought to honor God, as they had been taught. But Cain, blinded by rage, struck Abel and killed him. He left Abel's lifeless body in the field, trying to distance himself from what he had done. God, however, knew what had happened and soon confronted Cain, asking, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain, attempting to evade responsibility, replied, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God then said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground." Because of this act, God pronounced a curse upon Cain. No longer would he be able to work the soil and expect it to yield a harvest. Instead, he would be a restless wanderer on the earth. When Cain protested, fearing for his life, God marked him with a sign to prevent others from killing him, declaring that anyone who harmed Cain would suffer vengeance sevenfold. After his punishment, Cain moved eastward to the land of Nod, where he eventually established a family and a lineage that would be marked by restlessness and strife. He founded a city, which he named after his son Enoch, becoming the first to establish urban life outside Eden. The violence of Cain's act became a tragic legacy, affecting his descendants for generations.